Okay, shalom everybody, and Shavua Tov. We're beginning a special period, the 3 weeks. On one hand, it's sad and gloomy, but on the other side, it's the greatest opportunity to connect to Hashem. Me personally, it was during this week in 1989 that I discovered Rebbe Nachman. On the 21st of Tammuz, which is this week, that's when my eyes were opened, Baruch Hashem. So it's an opportunity to go up a level in life, Bezat Hashem. Like we say many times, and it's so pertinent, the insight of the Maggid of Mizrich. The Maggid of Mizrich explains, I think it's verse number 2 or 3 from Eicha, Kol Rotfeha Hisigua Ben HaMetzarim, the beginning of Eicha, of the Lamentations, that the Shechina is lamenting all those who pursued Sion, Yerushalayim, to destroy her, reached her Bein HaMetzarim, between the tightness, which is considered the 17th of Tammuz, and Tisha B'Av. That's a 3 period of being squeezed, okay? So the Maggid said like this, don't read Kol Rodfeha, all those who pursued her, because it's in feminine, Rodfeha. Read it, Kol Rodef Yud Kei. Rodef Yud Hey, that's the end of the word. So anyone who's trying to pursue Hashem, but Hashem's upper light, the light that's not revealed in this world, that's Yud Kei. Your Masigi, and then Hisigua, all those who pursued her, reached her. Hisigua, that's feminine. Don't read it in feminine, read Hisig Vav Kei, from Yud Kei Vav Kei. So Kol Rodef Yud Kei, Hisig Vav Kei, when? Ben HaMetzarim, in this time. In other words, this is one of the most special times to connect to Hashem. It's dafka specifically when things are a bit crooked, are uptight, are squeezed, that brings out who you really are, your inner essence, and allows you to connect to a higher level in life that you haven't been exposed to until now. That's why these times are the special times. They say in Sfarim that the 3 Shabbatot, Pinchas, Matot, Maseh, and Dvarim, the next 3 Shabbatot, are considered the highest Shabbatot of the year, believe it or not. So, not to be broken, to be positive, Bezat Hashem. We're going to speak about this a little. This was a spontaneous class, but I feel it has to get out, okay? The 17th of Tammuz, you'll see in the Tachanunim that they say in the Shacharit, that we're really mourning over 5 disasters that happened on the 17th of Tammuz, not at the same time, but throughout history, spread out in history, but on this day. Number 1, Moshe Rabbeinu, he let go of the tablets. The original 2 tablets from Har Sinai were shattered on this day, on the 17th of Tammuz. He just came down from the Har Sinai, from receiving the Torah, and he sees the Jews worshiping and dancing in front of the golden calf. The stones, the 2 tablets, smashed on this day, okay? Number 2, the Korban Tamid. During the temple, or the first or the second temple, the Jews were being sieged. There was a famine, and in order to continue the daily offering, they had to funnel out through a rope gold coins out of the wall, or the Romans, the Babylonians, would bring them like an actual sheep or 2 sheep for the daily Korban Tamid that had to continue being offered in the temple. So the day that one day they let out golden coins, and the Romans or Babylonians, they brought out up to them, they was connected to the rope to pull back up in the wall, a pig. When that happened and there was no kosher animal, that's when the Tamid, Korban Tamid, stopped. The daily sacrifice in the morning and afternoon. It happened on this day, the 17th of Tammuz. Number 3, they actually burnt a Sefer Torah. Some say the Sefer Torah that was in the Holy Ark, and some say another Sefer Torah was burnt in the temple. Number 4, one of the Greek or Roman generals, Apostemos, he placed an idol in the Heichal of the temple, the actual chamber of the temple, next to the Holy of Holies. He placed there an idol. And number 5, the wall of Jerusalem, of the holy city, was cracked and broken into by the enemies, and that's when they entered, and then eventually they destroyed on the 9th of Av. These are the 5 sad things that happened on this day. So now we want to see from our perspective, number one, what we can do today to fix this blemish of the past. And number two, what was possibly the reason that led to the Jews back then to have to face and suffer these five tragedies. All related to a lack of simcha. Because again and again, we're going to stress this again and again, and it's phenomenal what Rebbe Nachman is teaching us. He says the beginning key point of a downfall in emunah, in fear of heaven, in holiness, in lust and everything, starts with a crack in simcha. If you crack your simcha even a little bit, it has major repercussions afterwards. Major repercussions. Which is why a person has to do his best to always be besimcha, even during these 3 weeks. There's a nice, beautiful Breslev vort I heard once from Rabbi Avram Greenbaum. Hashem should send him a complete refuah, complete healing. He explained the halacha that says, Mishenichnas Av mema'atin besimcha. When we enter the month of Av, the halacha says, you have to diminish simcha. Already simcha is diminished from 17th of Tammuz, but more things are diminished on Rosh Chodesh Av. You stop eating meat, and there's more restrictions on dancing, whatever. There's many restrictions that happen already from Rosh Chodesh Av that are added. So the wording in halacha is mema'atin besimcha. We diminish in joy. So Avram Greenbaum, I once was there standing when he told this over to Rav Michal Dorfman, and Rav Michal Dorfman was laughing because he loved it. It was such a nice chidush. What does it mean, mema'atin besimcha? The word mema'atin, which means me'at, a little bit, is used by Rebbe Nachman in his fundamental teaching called Azamra, lesson 282. Rebbe Nachman calls a good point od me'at, a little bit, because how it works to finding good inside of you, it starts with a little bit. If you say, no, it's all or nothing, you'll never be happy in life. You have to train yourself and learn how to appreciate and be happy with the little points. And not say, yeah, I have this, but I didn't get that. That didn't happen. Not to say that, because it'll never happen. You have to work with appreciating the little points. It's called od me'at, a little bit of good. Okay? So back to this halacha. Mishenichnas Av, mema'atin besimcha. When we enter the month of Av, mema'atin besimcha, we bend our heads down in Av more than any other time to begin to appreciate the little bit of good points in order to be happy. So again, Mishenichnas Av, when we enter the month of Av, mema'atin, we look for little tiny good points in order to be happy and to be appreciative and happy with those little bit of points. It could be that all of the restrictions of mourning, with the laundry and showers, and the eating and the dancing and the weddings and the music, all of this is to train a person to be happy with the minimum. And even less than the minimum, but even absolute little tiny points to train a person to be happy with those little bit of points. Mema'atin besimcha. So with this in mind, we want to show how the 5 disasters that took place on the 17th of Av correspond to the fabulous 5 advices given by Rebbe Nachman, shown by Rebbe Nachman, but that were there all along in the Torah. But these are the number 5 ways how to bring upon joy on a person when he's not happy, when he's broken, to utilize any of these 5 or combinations of them or whatever to be happy b'ezrat Hashem. The 5 are telling jokes. In Hebrew, in Aramaic, it's called mili dishtuta. Telling jokes, acting silly. Okay, so what? So what to act silly? If it brings a smile upon you and other people, why not? Even if it's silly and it's beneath your dignity, but still it makes a smile on the face, so it's worth it. If it makes you smile even for a few seconds, that smile is a big transformation from the person's depression and sadness, etc. So telling jokes, acting silly is number 1. Number 2, putting on music, dancing, clapping. Nachon, during these 3 weeks we're a bit limited in that, but you can technically by yourself clap your hands, dance, sing to yourself a nigun. You can listen to capella music. It doesn't have to be music that's actual with actual musical instruments. It can be with a cappella music, as we know. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is Azamra, like we just spoke about earlier. Finding your good points, finding the good points. Azamra. I will sing to Hashem with my with my little bit more of good point that I find inside of me. That's number 3. Number 4, to give thanks to Hashem giving thanks to Hashem, appreciative of all the good, right? That's part of a Jewish life. The first thing we say every morning, Modeh ani, I give thanks to Hashem that you put my soul back in my body, because it's not understood on its own. Number 5 is called Simcha del Atid, the joy of the future. That you know and believe that in the end, whenever it's going to be, after Mashiach, after the resurrection of the dead, okay, the third temple, etc., everything's going to work out. The evil will be punished. The people who are evil and doing bad, these crazy people in the world are just doing evil and they're justifying it, they're going to pay for it. They're stupid. They're going to pay for it. They're going to pay the price, okay? The bad will be punished, and the good, all the things you suffered for with good intents, you'll be rewarded. So if that's the case, if in the end everything's going to work out, why are you so sad now? Why are you sad now if you know that in the end it's going to work out? And everything will have a complete rectification. A parent has children who are off the path, so he's broken and bitter. But you know that in the end, when Mashiach comes, everyone's going to be rectified. Everyone's going to come back, even your children. So what are you broken about? You know that in the end it's going to work out. Just on the side note, Rebbe Nachman once said that a person should daven to have as many kids as possible and not to worry how they turn out. Because when Mashiach comes, he's going to be able to rectify and fix everyone. So it's an amazing statement from Rebbe Nachman. The mitzvah of having children and doing it to the maximum, not worrying how they're going to turn out. Besides, if there's medical issues. If there's no medical issues, to have as many kids, not to say, I'm going to bring kids into this crazy world. What is this? Just opposite. Bring as many as you can and do your best in raising them with a Torah, pure, clean, healthy, kosher, normal education. You did your best. You tried your best, even if it wasn't perfect. How they turned out, you did your part. It's not your business. Because in the end, Mashiach is going to come to fix them. It hurts. Oh, look at him, this and that. It's eating you up. But you have to remind yourself that in the future, everyone's going to be fixed. So these are the 5 that Rebbe Nachman mentions, the fabulous 5. These 5, if we take a look carefully, they each correspond to one of the 5 disasters that happened today. So let's start just in the order of chronology. Number 1, the breaking, the smashing, the shattering of the tablets. Right? Nishtabru aluchot. The tablets were broken. These tablets, the Zohar teaches, the Arizal teaches, Chassidut teaches, they contained a higher Torah. The Torah is called Oraita Da'atika Stima'a Da'atid Le'itgalia. The Torah, the hidden Torah of the Ancient One, which in time to come will be revealed. That was the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu was initially supposed to bring down with him, with the first tablets. The Jews were getting ready, they were supposed to be getting ready for a higher level of Torah than we know today. The Torah that we access today is nothing compared to this Torah that was in the original 2 tablets. But when the Jews did such an 180 degrees and made a golden calf, the light of this Torah, which was so high, couldn't handle it, so it took off. The letters parchu ba'avir, they fled in the air, went back up. Okay, and this is the Torah of the future that's going to be revealed. Okay, so that's what caused the tablets to be heavy, and Moshe Rabbeinu dropped them because the heaviness, the light of the letters was making the tablets of stone light. Technically, as soon as they fled, Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't hold them anymore, and they fell and they crashed. Okay, so corresponding to this, the blemish of that is the simcha, a lack of the simcha of the future. If we take a look in that point of history, the Jews were panicking. Where's Moshe Rabbeinu? He's not coming down. And then the Yetzer Hara made an image, a mental image, a distortion of Moshe Rabbeinu's coffin flying in the air. So they said, oh, Moshe Rabbeinu's dead. There's no one to help us now. And they felt totally lost. They were supposed to have strong belief that Hashem is going to help them. There is a future joy, Bezrat Hashem, and everything's going to be fixed. But not to plutz and just abandon the ship and, just now to find another means outside of Torah and Judaism to have leadership, to make a golden calf. Who told you to do that? They went to that because of a panic of the imminent situation. So they jumped to make false conclusions without having patience. Just wait a second. Things are going to work on. There is a God. Hashem's not going to let you down like that. And even if the Yetzer Hara and even Moshe Rabbeinu it passed on, it's the end. You have to believe that's the end. That's the person who views the present and bases conclusions on the present. Oh my God, it's finished, it's over. That was the blemish. that they didn't tap into the Simcha of the future based on their level. So the breaking of the tablets, which is the Torah of the future, okay, comes packaged in parcel with having Simcha of the future. If you now tap into the Simcha of the future, so then you merit to the Torah of the future, the Oraita Dati Kastima Bezrat Hashem. But the Jews then didn't have that level of capacity. That was their test. The test was of Yetzirah showing almost Rabbeinu passed on, it's finished, it's over and over. Okay? So that was their pressure of the present being overruling, causing them a panic and a worry and a sadness and a depression, and they failed. That's why they lost the test, and they lost the opportunity to have the light of the higher Torah of the future, B'ezrat Hashem. That was number one. Number two, Bitul Tamid, the stopping of the Korban Tamid. Like we said, that the temple had to have the sacrifice in the morning and in the evening and afternoon every day. Okay, and on the 17th of Tammuz, that's when they brought in a pig instead of a kosher animal. Okay, the idea of Korban Tamid is consistency, and also the very first sacrifice offered during the day. You just remember, in the temple in Yerushalayim and in the Mishkan, there was non-stop traffic. Jews bringing all types of sacrifices. If it's the woman trying to bring their kinim to be purified from nida, if it's the people of leprosy, if it's people bringing a Thanksgiving offering, a neder, a sin offering, asham, korban ola. There was tons of offerings, hundreds, maybe thousands of offerings all day long in the Beit HaMikdash. The Kohanim had to be super quick and efficient, right? First sacrifice, however, was the Korban Tamid. That was first. That's consistent. This corresponds to giving thanks. Because giving thanks to Hashem, Modeh is also consistent. The very first thing you do in the morning is you say Modeh, I thank you Hashem, right? And the very first Korban is the Korban Tamid. They have a correlation here in a sense, that both are consistent. The one thing a Jew has to do every day according to halacha is to give thanks. And it's the first thing you do. The first thing you do when you wake up is you give thanks. You're appreciative and you value that nothing is for granted. You don't say, Hashem didn't help me yet in this A, B, C, D, and I'm still stuck. You first give appreciation for what you do get. This is a very important point in Judaism, is having humility. And not lashing out, I don't get this, and Hashem didn't answer my prayers. I've been doubting for 20 years and I've gotten nowhere. People it's understood with the suffering people go through. I can understand why they talk like that. But if you train yourself more on the side of appreciation, this happens less. The lashing out happens much less when you have a focus more on the appreciation and giving thanks for what you do have. So Modeh Ani, of course, is consistent. It's every morning. It's Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh, Tisha B'Av, Yom Kippur. Every day of your life, the first thing we do as a Jew is we say thank you. Modeh Ani lefanecha. And that's like the Korban Tamid that had to be also offered every day. Okay, Korban Todah wasn't a Thanksgiving offering. Sorry, Korban Tamid. The Korban Tamid was not a Thanksgiving offering, but its consistency matches the consistency of Modeh Ani, where this also makes sense, that it's every day, B'ezrat Hashem. Number three, the Torah was burnt, right? Apostle Moshe took a Sefer Torah and burnt it in the temple. The burning of the Torah, it's where now the holy words of the Torah are moving, are unfortunately not dancing, but moving in the format of fire, leaving the parchment, being burnt into a different format. This corresponds to the blemish of not dancing enough, not clapping the hands enough, not singing enough. The Jews, even back then, weren't exempt from giving thanks and clapping and being happy and dancing. It's a part of Judaism. The Jews sang Hallel, on the night of Pesach. The Jews sang Hallel also when leaving the Red Sea. There are many times that the Jews were singing, and when the inauguration of the temple, the Jews, Vayaronu, it says Rina, there was a lot of singing and dancing. Yes, it's a part of a Jew to be happy and dancing. And by the Torah, our greatest expression of the Simcha of the Torah is expressed when? On Simchat Torah. On Simchat Torah, it is the greatest mitzvah to dance, clap your hands and sing. Even the Ben Ish Chai goes into a halachic thing. He's saying there's no problem clapping your hands, because normally at the Shabbos table it's a problem to clap your hands. You do what's called shinui. You have to do it in an irregular beat because there's a problem of producing music on Shabbat, even with your hands and everything. But he says on Yom Tov, because of the honor of the Torah, you're allowed, he says lechatchila, to clap your hands while dancing in honor of the Torah. The Simchat Torah is the biggest expression of clapping and dancing, okay? King David HaMelech was dancing, mefazez or mecharcher, when they were inaugurating, bringing the holy ark of the Torah inside of it to Yerushalayim. So David HaMelech was wearing an ephod bad, a long blue garment of pishtan, a very special quality garment, and he was mefazez or mecharcher, dancing and whistling and singing, okay, in honor of the Torah. So now when a Jew doesn't do that, when there's a lack of Simchat Torah, by dancing and clapping and being appreciative of the Torah that we have, and that we fulfill the mitzvot of the Torah, so the opposite is the Torah is burnt, Nisrafa Torah, the opposite. There's now dancing in a sad way, the dancing of the flames. The flames are dancing now and moving with the burning of the Torah. Number 4, the positioning of the idol in the temple. Ho'amad atzelem, okay? Ho'amad atzelem, that's a disgrace. When you hear an idol put in a temple, what do you feel? That's like so low. To put when you hear and see a very embarrassing image of a pestle, an idol in the temple of God, so the feeling is like you feel so uncomfortable. Okay, this feeling of uncomfortable also unfortunately appears in the kedusha, which is the idea of acting silly and telling jokes. There are people who are too serious, rabbis, they're too serious of a Jew, and it's beneath their dignity to tell jokes, to listen to jokes, to act silly. It's beneath their dignity because I'm a person of position and I have this and I have whatever, red collar, white collar person. So it's embarrassing for people who are like serious, high people, high position people, whether in the physical world, in money, or in the Torah world. It's very hard for them to bend, They say about 2 Breslover Hasidim from the city of Cherin, Rav Nachman Goldstein of Cherin, and Rav Avram Dov, the grandson of Rebbe Nachman, that in their older years, they were like in their 50s, advanced 50s, 60s, and they were traveling to Uman for Rosh Hashanah every year. So once on the way, when they stopped over to take a break, they started play fighting with each other, started taking like orange peels or fruit peels and started throwing at each other. These 2 older men, Tamid Chachamim, long beards and beis, and he started throwing at each other potato peels just for a laugh. And the Breslovers observed that as amazing, that this was a Rav. The Rav of Cherin was a big, super duper ordained Rav. People were scared of him in his halacha and everything. And Aram Dov was a very prominent businessman, a descendant of Rebbe Nachman. And yet, they were willing to lower themselves to make each other laugh, to bring on simcha when needed, when necessary. Mila dishtuta, okay? So if a Jew feels it beneath his dignity to laugh, to put on a joke, or there's people around them that you can't joke with because they're too serious, okay? It's not proper. It's losing out because you need fake happiness to come to true happiness. The Rebbe Nachman said the people are so down and depressed today that the only way to get them happy is by telling them a silly joke. So I have a joke for you. I know it's the 17th of Tammuz, but you're allowed to hear a joke. So this is a joke about that there was a bank in Tel Aviv, in downtown Tel Aviv, in a very secular neighborhood. And a secular Jew goes into the bank and he sees there's a line for men and a line of women. And he flips out. He says, "What is this, Me'asharim? You're forcing your religion on me? What is this? Where's the manager? Come." He said, "Yes, what's the problem, sir?" He said, "What are you doing? You're making it like Me'asharim? A line for men, a line for women? What is this?" He says, "No, you don't understand. The men are depositing money and the women are withdrawing the money. It just happened by itself." Okay? Telling jokes is so relieving, especially if people are down and depressed and sad. So the one thing that can only get to them, Rebbe Nachman says, is mili deshtuta. You have to tell a joke. It's not like, okay, I'm only telling jokes. When needed and necessary, I'm willing to bend to do jokes and act silly, to bring simcha for someone. So now if you're not willing to do that, the damage is an idol. That's really embarrassing. That really hurts. An idol in the temple, that was the punishment. That he placed an idol in the Echal. Why? Not just to go against Hashem, but to break the morale of the Jews, of the Kohanim and everyone who saw that happening, to break the morale. You're not willing, like as if the punishment, midah keneged midah. You're not willing to act silly and tell jokes in order to bring on true simcha. So I'll get you something that really makes you feel bad and beneath your dignity, to put a tzelem in the Echal. Shem Rachem. Last one, number 5, cracking the wall. What's the cracking the wall of Yerushalayim until they penetrate it? How do they start breaking down the wall? It starts with a little crack, a little crack, a little crack, until it's more and more and more, right? It starts by a little bit. You don't bring in like a bomb and blow up the wall. How do they break the wall? You start first by cracking it, small cracks, then bigger cracks, and until there's an actual crack in the wall, and then that allows for more cracking and throwing down the wall. That corresponds to when a Jew is not willing to appreciate his little good points, Azamra, to be happy about his little good points. You're not happy about your little good points, so the crack in the wall of Yerushalayim starts with a crack and a crack. Oh, no, 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 please, no. Too bad, too late. You can't find your good points, so there's a crack in the wall of Yerushalayim. These are the 5 things that we're mourning on Yud Tammuz. And the lesson we can glean is that we have to work, especially now before Mashiach comes, to bring Mashiach, like the Ashkenazim are going to read in the Haftarah from Mincha, the verse from Isaiah, chapter 55. Ki besimcha tetzeu. The way we're going to get out of this galut is not by panic. Oh, they're sending bombs and missiles, Iran, and this and that. And oh my God. Simcha. The simcha is your key, B'ezrat Hashem, for bringing your Mashiach and the Mashiach for the world. So if that's the case, extra effort has to be put in working on simcha, maintaining it. It's not easy. Of course, I admit it. We agree it's not easy. But when you know it's a goal, it's not like a side thing. It's the thing. The starting point of my Judaism is simcha. Like we said, you wake up in the morning, you start with simcha, Modeh. You don't say, oh, I woke up, Oscar the Grouch, I woke up late, I'm going to miss this, I'm going to miss that. No, Modeh. Modeh. I thank you, Hashem. It starts with simcha. That's the cup of the entire day. Everything happening in the day is based on that cup of Modeh in the morning, B'ezrat Hashem. So this is our key, and to maintain that, especially in these 3 weeks, there's no mitzvah to be sad. There's a mitzvah to have mourning, to feel broken, but to have atzvut is dangerous. Because from atzvut, in itself is forbidden. There's brokenheartedness, but then a person can fall easily to atzvut. So people are already down, and they hit the 3 weeks, oh, now even more down, so they feel even worse. And they try everything to find a way out of the 3 weeks. What the goal is to appreciate the 3 weeks of all the restrictions, and yet to still be positive. They put restrictions on the food, on the music, on the washing, on the cleaning, and this, doesn't hurt me, doesn't touch my essence. I'm still happy inside, okay? I'm still full of hope and positive. I can't smile on Tisha B'Av, I can't say hello on Tisha B'Av, but still I maintain a minimal positive attitude of hope inside of me, and that's maintaining my inner simcha. And the goal of these 3 weeks is to train a Jew to use these 5 to be happy, B'ezrat Hashem. So you should be zocha to be b'simcha, to work on being b'simcha, even and especially during these 3 weeks, and you can reach the highest things. Again, they say these Shabbatot, there's an exceptionally high level of simcha that a person can tap into on these 3 Shabbatot. Pinchas, Matot, Maseh, and Dvarim. We should be zocha, B'ezrat Hashem. Thank you for joining. Kol Tuv. Thank you, guys.